Thank you for waiting. Sorry, there was a delay. We will start our alumni panel Q&A today. My name is Alina, and I am the program manager of the Queen's Master of Finance Beijing program. And joining me today are three alumnus. So we have Karina Zhang from class 2018. Welcome, Karina.
Thanks, Alina.
We have Sean from class 2019, Sean Bowers. Welcome, Sean.
Hello, everybody.
And we have Sam also from class 2019. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks, Alina.
So Sean and Sam will be graduating tomorrow, actually. It's very exciting. So we are currently located in Toronto. We're doing this webinar from Toronto, but they will be traveling to Kingston for their convocation. So they will receive their diploma tomorrow in Kingston. So just to kick off today's session, each of our panelists, I would like to answer the question, why did they chose Queen's Master of Finance in Beijing, and what the reasoning was behind joining this program. So we'll probably start with Karina.
Yeah, for sure. So my story is I was study abroad in Canada since 2010. So for me, myself, I was away from my home country for almost like 9 years. So the reason why I chose this program because it is such a unique combination. You got to experience the Chinese university life, and also I got a chance to work there in China as well, and also be able to have my Queen's degree. And so that's like the main driver for me to choose this program, to just get a chance to taste my home country a little bit more.
Great. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, so I graduated with an undergrad in finance in 2016, and I worked for a couple years, and I kind of went around Toronto asking a lot of, people in my industry in finance, if an MBA or a Master of Finance is sort of worth it, and I was getting a lot of no's, it's not something that you should pursue. And then when I said about the MFin Beijing program, everybody changed their opinion. This is actually really interesting. You get to live in a different country for a year, but you get a Queen's Master's degree. You get a perspective on China. You get some Chinese professors from Renmin, but also some Queen's professors. And so it's not like your typical program. And ever since coming back, whenever somebody is where did you do your Master's? I say Queen's, but I was in China for the year. It opens up a whole new conversation. It's not what were your classes, what did you study? It's that's really interesting. What a cool experience. That must have been great. And then we end up having more of an interesting conversation versus an interview or really tough questions. And I think that's mainly why I chose it, was a really interesting angle.
That's great. What about you, Dan?
Wow, Sean, you actually say a lot of things. And I actually have the same experiences as Karina. And I also took my undergrad degree at a Canadian university. And then as I was thinking, I sort of missed my country, and then this program afforded me a lot of experiences that I can actually get to know about my country better, and then I can also earn an advanced degree from Queen's University, and that's why I'm pursue my degree for this program.
Perfect. Thank you. So we also stress when we are talking to our candidates, we always mention that they will be looking for, employers are looking for both students with hard skills, such as quantitative skills, but as well as the communication skills, which are soft skills. So we try with this program to educate our students in both occupations, and the degrees also helps with CFA for those who are pursuing their CFA level 1 and 2. Sometimes the students do complete their CFA level 3 upon the degree completion. And I just want to talk about a little bit about the Queen's Renmin partnership. So we partnered with the Hunting Institute of Advanced Economics and Finance. The campus is in Beijing, as our alumni already mentioned, and our program is approved by Ministry of Education. That means the students who are continuing their work in China, this degree will be verified for their employers by MOE. So in Queens, we do have Queens University Alternative Asset Fund, which is abbreviated as QUAF, and a lot of students are interested. This is a big portion of our Master of Finance Beijing studies, and I would ask Sean to cover this as he was our president for 2018-2019 year.
Yeah, thanks, Alina. I think it's actually, QUAF is probably at the most interesting inflection point it's ever been. So basically, QUAF Toronto manages $500,000 of a portion of I think it's from the university endowment and some beneficiaries or alumni. And basically in the past, QUAF Beijing, which works really closely with Toronto, has done research reports or they do some sort of macro reports or talk with a lot of industry people in Asia. In our year, we were able to transition from just writing reports and talking with or networking to actually managing a portion of that $500,000. And so what our team has sort of set up is we've been given $60,000 of that money to allocate to investments that sort of have an Asia angle or a global outlook, more like a diversification for QUAF. And so it's a really interesting way to apply things that you're learning in the classroom, whether it's how to value a company or how to look at certain indicators in economics, to actually deciding investment decisions. So, you learn about a lot of things in your class. Now you're taking that and actually making investment decisions with real money. It's not fake or it's not just for fun. It's you have to have returns and there's investors that will ask about your returns. And so that was our year of transitioning that. So I know this year they're I believe, starting to actually invest that first $50,000. And so if you guys are incoming, I guess it would be the 2020 class, the incoming class, it would be a really interesting time for whoever wants to join QUAF because you'll be probably the first or second year that's managing real money in QUAF Beijing. And it also connects the Beijing to the Toronto teams pretty well too. So when I joined the QUAF or MFin Beijing, I was a little bit worried about not being here in Toronto, not having connections here. But through QUAF, I was able to meet up with probably 10 people here in Toronto since graduating. And it's we're friends already because we've been talking back and forth over the last year because of QUAF or staying in connection with them. And so it was a neat way to, I guess, bridge the two programs as well.
But I think MBA, students from MBA are also involved.
Yeah, so
in that, right?
The MBA is involved, the MFin is involved, and I believe they're now introducing the Masters of Data Analytics or
MMA.
MMA, yeah.
I think they're splitting it because the structure of the programs runs in different times. So they're kind of splitting half a year with MFin Toronto and half a year of MMA.
Yeah.
So I think they're just trying to.
So it's you're bridging Toronto, Beijing, and now you're bridging MFin, MMA, and MBA. So it's a really cool way to network with a whole bunch of Queens people.
Great. A little bit about the course schedule. So our course schedule divided into two semesters, with first one running from September to January, with one month of Chinese New Year break, and the second semester is from March to July. And as you can see, we have convocation in November. So I guess the Chinese New Year was great for you guys, Sam and Karina. Was that something you were looking for when you went back after your studies in Canada?
Yeah, for sure. Because for the Canadian institution, we don't have either our winter break or spring break is now covered by the Chinese New Year. And so last year when I was doing MFin Beijing program, it was actually my first time celebrating the Lunar New Year with my family. And I believe we still we got the whole month off, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of a recharge and reconnect with your family.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's great. I think that the structure for the program is great. What did you do, Sean, during that?
So I don't have any Chinese relatives. It was kind of a fun time just to travel around locally. I went to a lot of small cities and around Beijing. It was pretty fun.
Great. Yes, and this is to outline our curriculum. This is the latest curriculum that our students in the current class are following. And so you can see that the course structure is very close to the CFA curriculum. However, our program is not the preparation course for the CFA. Both the MFin Beijing and the CFA, they can complement each other. So how did you guys manage the work-study balance, Karina? Did you do any internships during your class year? So sometimes because of the classes, I didn't mention that, but our classes, they delivered on a weekend, so there's a possibility for students to work. So how did you manage that time and balance?
Yeah, so actually I was working full-time last year in Beijing with, my experience is that I got lucky with all my group members, and everybody's just very friendly. And also I believe we have like almost half the class like is taking either internship or a full-time job. So I think there's a common understanding about like how to arrange like some project deadlines and with work deadlines. So I feel like everybody just very respectful, and everybody is very responsible for their own team. It's a great team player, and whenever it comes to some urgent like work deadline that came to do, I feel like my group members, even though I mean like I participate in like different groups, and I feel like people are like really understanding this. They try to help me out. They try to like we try to allocate the group project like kind of like just for you to be able to do both of the part. And from the work side, my team and my leader, they are all very supportive to this like my MFin Beijing program. They also like because our Renmin University is very, very well known in China, so I think everybody just kind of like support me to get a degree. So it was a nice experience, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody's supportive actually as well from my team. I actually worked a lot of internship during the time that I was taking the MFin Beijing program. And while most of it was a full-time internship, and most of my job was pretty busy. And then my team was very supportive. They were like, they were giving me some probably like lower workload if you were pretty busy and you cannot like write any like essays or something. And then but the good thing for this program is you can actually apply what you have learned during the weekend, apply it to your internship, and you can easily like catch up with all the materials you learned from the weekend.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation.
What about you, Sean? I know you ran CLAF. There is some restrictions to work for the foreigners when they're on study permit. So what did you do besides? Did you do anything besides CLAF or?
So yeah, I did CLAF a little bit during the week, and then I worked like a couple contract hours just during the week to keep myself busy. But then I also took some Chinese classes. So I was doing like while I was there, I figured I should take advantage of living in Beijing for a year, and so I took a couple of Chinese classes, and yeah, CLAF, and then the work hours all together to sort of add it up. And it's good for like if you're doing CFA because there's a little bit of flexibility. Like if you're not working full time and you wanted to do the CFA say in December or June, you definitely have like it's easier to study for the CFA when you're studying than if you're working full time. Yeah, so it's a good year to study for the levels.
Great. Yeah, and this is a little bit of picturesque representation, what you are looking at your campus life at Renmin as well. So you will be receiving their student card that will get you the access to their library. I don't know, guys, did you use a Wind platform? Yeah, so
it's like Bloomberg.
Yeah, we have our own Bloomberg.
Yeah, we do have our own Bloomberg terminal at Renmin campus, but there's also a different platform called Wind that a lot of Renmin University professors use. So it seems like it is Chinese version of a Bloomberg that you can research Chinese companies. Yeah. So that's my understanding. And having access to the library, you will have the access to that platform as well. And the gym, lecture hall and a little bit something about the cafeteria.
Cafeteria, so good.
Make sure to go to the East Cafeteria.
East Cafeteria, the best food, and it's so cheap.
It is really cheap.
Yeah.
It's like
10 to 15 RMB per meal.
it's like
Cheaper than food delivery.
Is it real?
Food delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the food delivery is amazing.
Oh, they do deliveries as well there? In the from the cafeteria, or you mean from outside?
From outside.
Outside, yeah. So, let's talk about your faculty. So you had the faculty from both China and Canada. So what can you reflect on that, Sean?
Sure, yeah. So like I did my undergrad, like I'm Canadian, I've never lived in China. So it was interesting having like women profs because it was a totally different experience doing like group work or assignments or presentations for a Chinese professor from Renmin versus like a Queen's professor. And so you sort of got like your typical, for me, like a typical professor experience for some classes, and then for other classes it was like very, a lot more strict. Like some of the profs were like extremely strict from the Renmin side. So it was like an interesting way to like balance and just experience something totally different. But it was good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the profs were all great.
Karina and Sam, you probably have the same experience because you graduated from University of Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, is there anything to add about the faculty, Sam?
Well, I would say like for the Canadian professor, they probably like talk about things based on the Western market. But for the Renmin faculty, most of the professors teach based on the Chinese specific market, and they will use some real data from the Shanghai stocks or China securities to actually give you a better understanding for their teaching materials, and then just making you adopt it to the market.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the difference is not only like academically, but also like culturally different. Mm-hmm. Because for example, at least for my year, we have the professor. He's 100% like Asian background, but like I think he had some Western education background as well, and he worked at Wall Street for a long time. He's very senior, very professional. However, when you like had like his lecture, so it gives you the opportunity to hear from like some very senior person who has a majority like Asian background, but who also like worked like at Wall Street, those kind of like. Mm-hmm. So it just allows you to see their point of view and the way they view the market and the way like they like compare like both like the Asian market with like Western market and also like global market. So I feel that it's very interesting. It's very good experience.
Great. Yeah, and this is a little bit of outline of our faculty, and I think you were talking about Joseph.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is second on the top, second from the left on the top. We have here Dr. Wei Wang. He's also our program director, and we think like that what we believe our program director teaching in the program, keeping the quality of faculty. So while he's teaching, he gets to interact with the students, get their feedback about other professors or about the way of teaching. So we are really glad that Dr. Wei Wang plays this role throughout the university life of the student as well. I believe we have a new addition in terms of Jean. I think he didn't teach you, Karina. No. Yeah, Jean started last year. I think you guys had Jean for econometrics, and Celine was also a new addition to the team as well. So I think we a little bit covered, Karina and Sam a little bit covered the team interaction, but besides the support for your working, what else can you add to your experience with the team? I'll address it first to Sean because to start off, and then whatever Karina and Sam wants to add.
So I think like our team is amazing. Like my team, I don't know, like I think Queen's sort of sets it up a bit so that they try to pair you up with like a diverse group so that you're not all like the same. And so I ended up having like a Chinese girl that she works for the Central Bank of China, the PBOC, and then two guys that I think studied at University of Toronto and then have been working a little bit in like with financial services and a bit of an investment bank background, and myself. And the four of us just got along like really well. So like, I won't talk about like studying during the program because that's kind of boring, but like we would go out together as a team, like we'll go and get like barbecue or like go out for hot pot after class. And it was just like, I'm in contact, like they all stayed in China. I don't think any of them are coming to convocation tomorrow, but we stay in contact like all the time still. We talk a lot. And I'm not sure if, for our class, the team stayed the same throughout the whole year. So we didn't alternate or anything. And at first I was like, oh, like I wish we would change teams like every class because then you get to meet more people. But because we didn't change, like the four of us actually became like really fluent, like fluid working with each other and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting one.
During the cleaners year, they did change a little bit. Did you change your team?
We did, like, we have, like, at least for some courses, I think some professors did actually, like, they have the assigned group, but, like, for some, like, other courses, I think you got to choose your own team. But they did, like, suggest you to try to rotate a little bit.
Yeah, we were asking to change our team as well, but at the end of the day, people just feel really strong relationship with each other, and they don't want to change.
Yeah.
And then another good thing is your team members probably have experiences from a lot of industry.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like my team has people work for Microsoft, people work for wealth management, and people work for the computer and science industry. And then in that way, you can get to know all these experiences from your team. Like instead of like browsing from the internet or something, you can directly have the person to telling you that, well, that is what I do, and then you have a basic concept for it.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That is great. Yeah, this was our substitution of our class year last year, 2019. We started with 38 students, with average age of 25, represented by 18 undergraduate universities. We had, I think that last year was the year we had the least females in the class. Usually we had like 50-50 distribution, but you guys had very few ladies last year. And also we had almost equal distribution between direct entries, the students who are entering the master's from their undergrad, and 45% of people with work experience. So, and this is a little bit of outline of where our graduates work. It does not capture all of it. This is just a summary presentation of the feedback that we got from our alumni. So we will need to update it. We are trying to keep it updated as much as possible, but our alumni, they do move from some companies, they grow within the companies, so I think this list is not limited. I think there should be more companies to be added. And we have a Smith Business Club China that was launched last year, September, and actually Karina was part of the business club for a year. I believe you were Director of Communications for the Smith Business Club.
Yeah.
So can you say something about the club and just describe what their mission and vision?
For sure, yeah. So actually, my role, I mean, I think they probably like adjusted a little bit this year. So last year, my role is Director of Social Networking, and so Smith Business Club is a branch of the Smith. Smith Business Club China is a branch of the Smith Business Club, and so we are the kind of the home for all the Smith alumni in. I think most of them are in Beijing, Shanghai, like those like major like cities, and we host events according to some like special festivals like Mid-Autumn, like those kind of festivals for everybody just to get together once in a while, and it's a great networking event that I think normally there's also Smith like faculties will be there, and it just really open up the opportunity for you to connect with some really senior alumni, like there are some like really directors, VPs like from different areas, and I feel that through those networking sessions, it's very, very easy to get in touch with them, than just like send a random LinkedIn message, Yeah, so that's how I like it, and I believe these Business Club China are like organizing more and more events like year by year, and I feel it's like really beneficial to just like join some events there to meet either your classmates or your or other alumni from different industries. So yeah, have you ever been to any of the sessions?
Yeah, I can see here there is a picture of Sean with the content over here. We had an event last October in the embassy.
Yeah.
So do you want to like reflect on that?
Yeah, it was actually it was a pretty cool experience. Yes, it was at the Canadian Embassy in Beijing, and there was like a couple senators. I think like a Minister of Trade was there, and it was kind of interesting. Like they're all sort of like, because they're like politicians in China, all of them are sort of interested in like what is China doing, or like Canadians' perspective on China, and so it was neat to talk to them just about like what's happening and like day-to-day stuff. But it was like I don't think I would ever been able to like just randomly meet a senator outside of like what is happening. So it was like a cool way to like meet ambassadors or like senator type people in Beijing. And I think there was like a pretty good relationship between the Beijing MFin program and the Canadian Embassy in Beijing.
I think so, yeah. They're always very supportive.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they just send like some representatives to our events,
and
right?
some of our, like I think one of our classmates, Bella, actually worked at the embassy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, interned there. And I think there was even another person before her. Or maybe not.
Not, but we always have the representatives from the embassy for our opening event.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so we're trying to kind of bridging that connection with the embassy and with the school as well. So if you want to give an advice to any MFin Beijing applicants, whether to apply, whether what they can get from this program, so we'll start from Karina.
Yeah, for sure. I think my first advice is like if you are sure this is something for you, make sure you apply early, because I know the program is a very popular program, and it got like we have a very strong applicants year by year, and everybody's quite competitive, and so I think it's like I think you start like selecting the applicants like quite early, like. Right, from spring,
even early. Early. We can even get the application from the third year as well, so they can apply as early as in their third year as well.
I think so, yeah. So definitely just try to apply early.
Well, my advice for the MFin applicants are apply early for sure, and then just get prepared for the 4-year course. It won't be too easy, and then work hard, and then study hard, and then play hard.
Have fun hard. Yeah. I would say like the program is really what you make of it too. So like it depends on how much you want to put into it. Is basically how much you're going to get. You can like go to the classes and that's it, and you'll get a Master of Finance, but it might not be like an amazing experience. But if you're there and you use this as like a touch point to do all kinds of other things, whether it's join TWAF or join the business club or networking, like I went to Hong Kong a couple of times and I met really cool alumni. I met alumni in Shanghai, Beijing. So like it's because you're a little bit far away from Queens. Sometimes it can feel like a little bit isolating, like you're not on campus. You can call them or you can easily have webinars and stuff with the counselors, but if you want to like really make the most out of the experience, like get involved as much as you can, meet as many people as you can, and if you make the decision, I think it's like it's a year, and you do that, like I don't regret it at all. Like it's a great experience.
Thank you, Sean. And just a little bit overview about the application process. It's pretty straightforward. So we have our application online, which is followed by the preliminary assessment. And once the assessment is completed, you will be advised to complete your application file, and that will be concluded with an online interview. So what are the admission requirements? As I said, there's online application that involves your resume and unofficial transcript. For your complete application, you might be required to submit TOEFL or IELTS if you're from non-English speaking school, a GMAT, GRE, or CFA level 1, 2 online references, and official transcript. And we actually have 2 sections available. We didn't touch on that. We have an executive section that started their first class in 2017. Executive section is the section for the senior management employees in China, with a minimum work experience of 7 years, and the courses are being taught in Chinese actually, where we have early career, which is international section, and the courses are in English. So any of you guys were having any interactions with the executive section? Do you, between our time, do you want to give feedback on that, or did you have any opportunities to network with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we definitely meet some of the executive clubs on our social events. I believe we went to dinner together, and also, yeah, this is mostly is the social events. Yes, and they are very, very resourceful, and I think at our year, some of the class from some of the classmates from that class, they even try to host some company touring session for us. So for for our club, we found that that's very, very beneficial, and so I believe it's very, very nice to try to connect with them to see if there's anything if there's any question that they might can answer you. And also, I think when they came here during our convocation, and they also try to reach out to us to take them for the city tour about our restaurant recommendation, and also some translating stuff. So yeah.
And yeah, the good thing for the executive class is they have a lot of good resources, no matter in in recruitment or other activities. For example, me and Sean went to a boxing competition raised by executive class is the president of the executive class. Yeah, and then he invited us to the boxing competition. That was my first time watching boxing competition, and then that was pretty interesting. And then those executive class students will give you their benefits that they have earned from the societies, and they are raising you to their level. That's pretty much the interaction with them.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Do you have anything to add, Sean?
No, yeah, it was just
did you have any chance to practice in
a little bit, yeah. Practice a little bit with them, yeah. It was a very good way to practice Mandarin with them. Yeah.
So, in case you have any questions, you can schedule a virtual one-on-one with our admission staff, either through phone or through Skype. We also have sometimes live one-on-one in Toronto, which is also available on our website. So I would suggest you to keep an eye on the website. We have all of our recordings for the previous info sessions on our website, just below the virtual one-on-one section. So I would suggest you to refer to that if you want to learn a little bit more. We have a faculty panel. We have a panel from our students. And the next week, we do have a career panel here at Smith Toronto. We have currently have an event WeChat group if you guys want to join. However, the prior registration will be required. The registration link will be sent within the group as well. So this is our social media account, and this is our contact page with our application WeChat group. So if you have any questions afterwards, or if you want to connect either with me or with my colleague Yamin, you can shoot us a quick message through the WeChat, and we'll try to help you. So And right now is the time for the Q&A. I will leave this page open. You can use your chat function or you can use Q&A function on the right-hand side. So, hello everyone. Is MFin Beijing a qualified program for Chinese students to apply for post-graduation work permit of Canada after completion? So, I would cover this question. We actually usually advise students to connect with the immigration consultant or with the immigration lawyer to check whether that's applicable, because according to the IRCC website, you have to be here in Canada and you have to have a study permit when you are applying for your post-graduation work permit. So you would need to check that either with IRCC or with immigration consultant. I can say from my experience before, students usually would receive their work permit after graduation from their undergraduate program. That will give them a little bit of wiggle room if they decide to come back to Canada after their completion of the Master of Finance Beijing. Any other questions? We'll give about 2-3 minutes. If you have any other further questions that you think of afterwards, you can shoot them to us and we will address them to either Karina, Sean, or Sam. And while we are waiting for the questions, are you guys excited for tomorrow's convocation?
Yeah, can't believe it's already been like a year. It went by so fast. Yeah. Trying to Kingston this afternoon.
Have you ever been to Kingston?
I went in my undergrad to visit friends at Queens, but I've never been on campus.
Yeah.
The first time on campus will be for convocation.
No, actually, Karina,
I did a exchange program last year, yes. So that's quite nice. Actually, it's for anyone who's interested. I think if you have the time, if you're working in China and your work job allows you to take the whole month break or vacation thing, I think it's a good experience. It's amazing, and I believe in my year there's only the 4 of us, and we joined with the MBA class, and the course was also taught by Dr. Ria Wang. Yeah.
So you did one of the classes in
Kingston. So we have an option to have an exchange course, either with full-time MBA in Kingston or with MFin Toronto, who's here in Toronto. This is what we could do. So, as I said, feel free to reach out to us through the WeChat, through the email, if you have any further questions, and if you want to connect with our alumni, we will see upon their availability, we may connect you with them. Thank you guys for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.